that this is the end of the Diddy story as we know it.
So I don't give them no energy. I give haters no energy. Steve ain't this, he think he this. You don't even know me.
Today, everyone is talking about the shocking arrest of Shah Diddy Combs and the unbelievable fallout that's dragging some of the biggest names in showbiz along with him. But there's one name that has everyone in shock. It's the same Steve Harvey that we all know from family-friendly TV shows like Family Feud and his long career as a comedian and talk show host. This is the same Steve who has built a reputation as a clean, respectable, and almost fatherly figure in the entertainment world. But it looks like there may be a much darker side to him.
There's a criminal investigation underway, and that they believe that there would be evidence of crimes in one or both of these homes.
When Diddy was arrested in Manhattan, it was like a ton of bricks of news. He was being held on charges that sound like they came straight out of a crime. Thrillers about racketeering, abuse, and more clips.
Stacey Schneider. And Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a criminal enterprise.
This was huge Diddy's business. For decades, Empire has covered music, fashion, TV, and nightlife. But the arrest has shattered the picture of the music mogul that everyone thought they knew. As more information came to light, whispers started to swirl. A lot of people began to wonder how many others could be involved in this mess. And then boom, the story hit the internet like wildfire. Steve Harvey, the beloved host and comedian, had fled the country the exact same day Diddy was taken into custody. Chance not likely.
Had clients describe NBC as hell, as the worst conditions they...
The fact that Steve Harvey left the U.S. as soon as Diddy was put behind bars has sparked an avalanche of speculation. Could it be that Steve knew the walls were closing in on him too? As the days go by, more and more people seem to think so. It's no secret that Steve has attended many of Diddy's infamous parties over the years. Those extravagant stared events that seemed to be the ultimate sign of success in the entertainment world. But as we've now come to learn, those parties weren't just about the glitz and glamour. There were much darker things happening behind the scenes, and Steve's connection to them is raising some serious eyebrows.
Housing unit is a 24-hour lockdown unit, which means that any movement within that unit is controlled and coordinated, and no inmate moves outside of his cell without being in full restraints, to include leg irons, handcuffs, a belly chain, and at least 2, if not 3 staff members escorting.
Let's go back in time a bit and talk about these famous parties that Diddy used to throw. To the outside world, they seemed like the place to be for music movie stars. Sports and politics rubbing shoulders, all while Diddy cemented his reputation as the ultimate host. But as time went on, more and more rumors surfaced about what really went down at those parties, rumors that hinted at some very questionable activities. The recent allegations and arrests suggest that these weren't just harmless social gatherings. If you listen to the people now coming forward, Diddy's parties were much more than that. They were allegedly a breeding ground for all sorts of illegal activities. And it's not just Diddy who's under the microscope. Every high-profile guests who attended, including Steve Harvey, is now being looked at with suspicion.
Replete with very, very serious and salacious allegations, including allegations that Combs had cameras throughout his home.
It's been said that Steve wasn't just a casual guest at these parties either. Rumor has it that he was a fixture at some of the wildest nights in Diddy and Circle. This is where things get really interesting. Sources close to the investigation are hinting that the FBI has witnesses who claim to have seen Steve taking part in some pretty and savory stuff. These aren't just people throwing out baseless accusations. These are individuals who allegedly attended the same parties and witnessed Steve getting involved in things that are not just embarrassing but potentially illegal.
Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors, yeah. I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than...
Now this is where the story really starts to peel back the layers of Steve's public image. For years, he's presented himself as the ideal family man, a devoted husband and father, someone who could give advice to millions on how to live a respectable life. His best-selling book, Act Like a Lady, Think like a man cemented his place as a voice of reason in the often chaotic world of relationships. But what if it was all a front? What if it was all a front? What if behind the scenes Steve Harvey was living a double life, frequenting events that were anything but wholesome all? Right. I gotta take some time to address this here. Of course, Steve has built an empire on his charm wit and larger-than-life personality. He's been the face of countless TV shows, from talk shows to game shows, and he's universally adored for his no-nonsense approach to life. But this new information could change everything. The idea that Dave could have been involved in, or at least witnessed the deeply troubling activities allegedly happening at Diddy's parties is almost too much for people to wrap their heads around. Could the man who's been doing out life advice for decades be hiding something? This dark
alleged evidence that's been gathered in this case was from those 2 raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles, and the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these performances that have been named freak off.
The fact that Steve left the country just as Diddy was being arrested has people buzzing. Why would he flee if he had nothing to hide? It's one thing to go on a spontaneous vacation, but to leave the U.S. the moment a close associate is taken down in a massive scandal, that's not something most people would do unless they had a very good reason to enforce Steve. That reason might be fear. That reason might be fear that the authorities are closing in on him next now.